Before we start laser cutting, it's important to talk about safety. While most self-contained CO2 lasers are rated Class 1 because the box they're housed in is protecting us from the radiation, we still need to be aware of the health and safety issues inherent in using a laser cutter. A quick disclaimer, I am not a certified laser cutting safety specialist. I am speaking from personal experience and cannot speak to the specific safety requirements of every laser cutter brand or studio setup. Do your due diligence and talk to your manufacturer or sales rep to learn the best practices for your machine and setup. In this video, we'll talk about ventilation, personal safety, fire prevention, and suppression. Laser cutters vaporize material using heat, and those physical and gaseous particles are dangerous to ourselves and the machine. To protect yourself from inhaling toxic material, your laser cutter is hooked up to a ventilation system that sucks out particles and fumes. The two primary ventilation options are a fume extractor or external ventilation system. Venting outside is the safest option. Start by contacting your manufacturer. Many of them can offer plans and specs to help ensure that you're using equipment that matches your machine's output. When I was thinking of setting up an external ventilation system, I got two pieces of advice that I'll pass on to you. Make sure that you are not venting out into a location where the fumes could come back in through an open window, or settle near a door or other location where people might congregate. Also, take into consideration weather patterns. You don't want those fumes being forced back in during a heavy wind. When venting outside is not an option, choose a high-quality fume extractor. Again, talk to your manufacturer to find out what brands of fume extractors are compatible and have the correct capacity for your machine. Fume extractors are an excellent option, but over time they can be expensive because replacement filters are pricey. Even though fume extractors are a good option, you still might notice some odor. While not all odor is a sign of toxicity, I personally take some extra precautions. I've installed a window fan in my studio, and when working with acrylic and wood, wear a multi-gas respirator. Is it overkill? Maybe, but I'd rather be safe than sorry when it comes to the health of my lungs. We'll talk more about what materials are safe and not safe to cut later. But a quick reminder that materials containing chloride or polyvinyl chloride, PVC, including Sintra and vinyl, should never be cut. The chlorine gas is harmful to you and your machine. Ventilation systems not only protect our lungs, they also move vaporized material away from the laser beam for a cleaner cut. This, in combination with an air assist, will improve the quality of your cutting. My air assist is connected to an airbrush compressor that sends a puff of air to the head of the laser. Air assist is usually offered as an accessory for an additional cost. Spend the extra money and buy it. Air assist is important in fire prevention. The puff of air helps extinguish flare-ups, similar to blowing out a candle. When it comes to personal safety equipment, we are looking at protecting our lungs and eyes. First, consider where your laser cutter is located. I once was offered a live workspace, which would have been more economical than paying for a separate studio. But sleeping in the same space where I would be running a laser cutter for hours every day didn't feel like a healthy option for the long term. As I've already mentioned, a multi-gas respirator is an excellent option if you'd like another layer of protection. Another simple lung-saving tip is to wait at least 30 seconds before opening the laser cutter. This gives the ventilation system enough time to suck away those fumes. Also, clean your laser cutter bed regularly. All sorts of nasty stuff hardens onto the bed, and every time the laser hits, that residue melts and releases fumes. Plus, it can transfer to the back of your material. For a non-toxic method, soak your bed for a good long time in vinegar, then use a power washer to rinse. You may need to repeat and use a straw cleaner brush to get stubborn residue out. For a faster option, soak in LA's Totally Awesome, a concentrated version of grease lightning. Clean your bed outside in a well-vented area or wear a respirator. And wear gloves. Don't be like me and forget them in the studio. I use a rabbit cage tray, and instead of completely submerging it, because that takes a lot of cleaner, I soak it, oscillate, then flip, and repeat. A quick spray with a garden hose, and the bed is like new. For stubborn residue, a straw cleaner brush works great. I rebottle the leftover cleaner and save it for the next time. While Class 1 laser cutters don't require special safety equipment to operate, you may want to consider eye protection. First, check with your manufacturer to confirm that the viewing window is made of safety glass that blocks laser radiation. Even if it does, you shouldn't be staring at that intense light for long periods of time. Laser safety glasses or goggles add an extra layer of protection and are oh so stylish, especially with a respirator. They are rated for specific types of lasers, so double check to make sure that what you're purchasing matches your type of laser cutter. There's no way of getting around it. Laser cutters use heat to cut, and therefore we need to make sure we have the right fire suppression equipment on hand and do all that we can to prevent ever having to use it. Again, I am not a certified laser safety expert, so contact your manufacturer for the fire prevention and suppression steps they recommend. First off, flare-ups similar to a candle flame are normal, especially when cutting thicker material or certain materials like rubber. Don't panic. Flare-ups will extinguish themselves quickly. And this is why you've got air assist to help blow them out. If the area remains alight, smolders, or grows after the head of the laser has moved on, then you want to step in and extinguish the flame. More on this in just a moment. Your first line of defense in fire prevention is to never leave your laser cutter unattended while it's running. It's tempting to go off and do something else during a long job, but a piece of burning material can cause massive damage if you're not there to extinguish it immediately. Next, keep your laser cutter bed clean. Clean out the crumb tray regularly and don't let debris accumulate in the laser cutter. Don't cut materials like foam or some plastics that are highly flammable, and double check your settings. You don't want to accidentally cut paper with a setting for plywood. When it comes to lightweight materials, use metal weights such as bars or washers or honeycomb pins to prevent the material from flying up. Sometimes small cut pieces will ignite if they hit the laser on the way to being sucked out by the ventilation system. When it comes to fire suppression, there are a few things to have on hand: a spray bottle of water, a piece of acrylic, and a CO2 fire extinguisher. Most people who operate laser cutters on a regular basis have experienced small fires, a continuous flame, or embers on the material. If you're at the machine paying attention, you should be able to extinguish them quickly and safely without damaging the machine. It's counterintuitive, but the first thing to do when a small fire appears is to lift the lid of the laser cutter to turn it off. Also, turn off the ventilation system. If it feels safe, try blowing out the flame, smothering it with a sheet of acrylic, or use a spray bottle with water. If the worst case scenario happens, use a CO2 fire extinguisher and call 911. The one safety concern we haven't covered is what materials are safe and not safe to cut. I'll be covering this in upcoming modules, but for a comprehensive list of safe and unsafe materials, check out the file in the download section of this lesson. Laser cutters are powerful tools that are safe to operate as long as we take into consideration certain precautions. These include a quality ventilation system, protective gear and equipment, regular cleaning of the machine, and fire prevention and suppression. With our personal safety and machine safety taken care of, it's time to start laser cutting. Before you leave, share something you've learned in the comments.